Hello everyone. For this week's lesson, we are going to be looking at the artist named Jacob Lawrence. Jacob Lawrence was an African-American artist who grew up in Harlem. He used to take art classes like right by our school, right at the YMCA there, and a few other places around Harlem. And we're going to be looking at his work today. His most famous series is the Great Migration series. So before you watch this video, make sure that you watch the other videos showing his paintings and the story of the Great Migration. Okay, without further ado, here is Jacob Lawrence talking about his work.
Some have said my art is social commentary or it's protest. It couldn't be anything else if I grew up in the Harlem community and that was the source of my content, if you want to interpret it that way.
Jacob Lawrence has been painting for over 5 decades and has become one of America's foremost artists. His style has defied convention and fashion and remains unique. He is Professor Emeritus at the University of Washington in Seattle, where he and his wife, artist Gwendolyn Knight, have lived since 1971. Lawrence began painting in New York's Harlem community as a teenager during the 1930s. Federally funded arts workshops have helped sustain Harlem's long-established artistic vitality during the Depression. For the Lawrences, the workshops were stimulating.
This had a certain kind of magic to it that I was able to put something on paper, be able to put something on a two-dimensional picture plane that had some meaning. I couldn't put this into words because I was only 14, 15 years of age. But I think that was it, and that intrigued me, putting black next to red. I could make decisions. Do I want to use this color or that color? And this was very, people like myself very rarely had the opportunity of making decisions, you see, so you could make decisions. So you were in a certain kind of control here, and it was a very constructive kind of thing.
Linked to this assignment is a page from the MoMA. They have an interactive website of Jacob Lawrence's Migration series, where you can look at all of the different panels. There's 60 in total. And if you click on the painting, it'll take you to another page. Let's click on one and find out. Yes, so you scroll down and it'll tell you a little bit about the art in the painting and then some of the history. Jacob Lawrence really did his research on this before he started this series. And so you can see kind of the research that he did, some of the maps, songs that were written about this time period as well, and the Great Migration. It's a really great resource. I'm definitely linking it below for you to explore when you have some time. So the painting that we are going to be focusing on is this one right here, panel 37. The caption that goes with it says, "Many migrants found work in the steel industry." A bright stream of molten metal pours through the air and splashes into a crucible, illuminating a dark factory. Here, Lawrence, like many artists in the 1930s and early 1940s, uses images of factories and machinery to represent the period's rapid industrialization. Lawrence's painting, framed as a close-up of the stream of liquid metal and cropped to exclude workers or the greater environment, resembles modern media like photography and film, which were often enlisted to explore and document this mechanical world. So here we have a portrait of a steel mill worker. This is Walter Black. He was one of the first African Americans to be promoted to foreman in the prominent Youngstown, Ohio steel industry. This photograph was taken in 1920, shortly after he rescued and resuscitated a worker who had been rendered unconscious by the poisonous gas emanating from the blast furnace. All right, as we scroll down, here you can also read a little bit more about the culture and how Lawrence came to understand and know about this. So he went to different artist workshops and met different people, different artists and writers, including a man named Charles Alston, who was working on a novel called Blood on the Forge, which follows a few brothers and their work in the steel industry. And that book you can see at the bottom of the post. So, yeah, whoever put this together on MoMA really did their research, and it's a great resource for you to check out. Okay, so now let's take a closer look at this painting, panel 37. I love this painting for so many reasons, but it looks quite simple at first glance, but if we look closer at it, there are a few techniques working here. One of them is called one-point perspective, where all of the lines in the painting kind of vanish or end at one point, and that is called the vanishing point, which is a rectangle for this painting. So I will show you where all of the lines kind of stop. Using this technique is a great way to show depth in a painting or drawing, make things look, more 3D, realistic. Your eye naturally does this and kind of sees this for you, but we don't really notice it in real life. If you were to look around your room, you could see the different lines in the corners all meet in the same place. If you have a door near you, it's the same kind of thing, the same phenomenon. So all of the lines in the painting goes to this point. The other thing that's going on is we have this great big splash of the hot steel being poured. So you have these really controlled technical lines all vanishing in the same place, and then you have this kind of free big splash happening in the page too. So our first step when we're making this is to make the rectangle. It's not in the direct middle of the page, but a little bit up and to the left. I would use a ruler to draw your rectangle. You could freehand it. You definitely want to use a ruler or a straight edge to draw the lines in this painting. So once you have your rectangle in the middle there, you're going to find the points where the lines end and put a little dot on your paper. That one looks like it's in the corner, but it's actually a little bit higher. You draw it a little higher, and then we're going to connect the lines there. So use a ruler. Oh, before I did those, I just added the line that went straight up there. And then I'm going to make the diagonal lines. There's one, and then let's do the other. I know it's a little bit hard to see with me using pencil, but once I add the color, it'll be a little bit more clear. I didn't want to do this in marker because I really want you to use pencil so that you can erase if you need to. I would recommend kind of drawing light, really not pressing hard with your pencil for your first pass, your first try, just until you get it right in case you need to erase. Okay, so now that I have all the lines drawn, I'm going to draw those vertical lines on the side there. There's the first one, and let's do the second. All right. So now I'm going to draw the big thing that's holding all of the magma there. So if you were to extend those two lines at the top, they would meet, which is what I was trying to show you there. So I'm just drawing that shape. One thing to note is that my paper is a lot bigger. The dimensions aren't the same as Lawrence's painting. So some of the things look a little bit off. That's why my the thing that's holding the hot steel looks so much bigger on mine than his. It's because my paper is wider. So if yours is wider or even smaller, shorter, it might look a little bit different. That's okay. And there's the barrel that it's going into. I thought it was a briefcase at first. And he was symbolizing, the people's work. But it turns out I just didn't know what a crucible was. So that's what that is. So I'm just lightly outlining where the hot steel is going to go. I'm drawing very, very lightly because the color yellow is going to be over that. Yellow is a very light color, so if it has any pencil lines underneath it, you'll usually still see it. Okay, now we're speeding it up a bit. I am going to be coloring it in. You don't have to use the same colors that I'm using or that Jacob Lawrence is using. Just use whatever you have. If you don't have any thing to color with, you could just use a pencil and shade in some of the different areas, pressing with different strengths on your pencil. That will give you different colors, different values. That's one technique. So yeah, just going through, adding the color. I do almost all of the colors except the brown before I did the hot yellow, blue, and black falling down there. All right, so now it's time. So have fun with this part. It's meant to look, very like a little wild, dynamic, a little messy. These lines are supposed to be really sharp and strong coming down, so don't be afraid to get in there and do really uncontrolled lines. That's fine. And once you've got that, then you can go in and add the floor. I just went around the hot steel first with the brown crayon and then went over it. Okay, and when you're all done, it'll look something like this. Okay, make sure to upload a picture or fill out the exit ticket. Okay, good luck. Bye.